Hey guys, what is up? Chris here with Cohesive Friendship Unit. Just me today. The Oculus Quest 2 is just a few days away, and I am super excited. I'm sure many of you are also excited. And while I'm just waiting for that to drop, I decided to put together a list of what I would consider to be essential games to check out on day one for the Oculus Quest 2. Now, I've broken this down into four categories, those being those who have a VR-ready PC, those who do not have a VR-ready PC, some free games that you should check out, and games that are coming down the pipeline in the near future. Now, the reason that I made the lists in the way that I did is because if you have a VR-ready PC, then I think that you can get a lot of the single-player experiences or alternate or even better experiences on your PC. And I would recommend picking up those titles on PC. So for the people with a VR-ready PC, I'm going to be recommending games that I think would be good to share with people, good to take on the go, and good experiences to have wirelessly and locally. And for the people who don't have a VR-ready PC, I'm going to add a couple of extra single-player focused, longer form titles for you to check out. And before we get into all of this, guys, we are like 15 subs from hitting that 3K sub goal. We would really appreciate your support. There's going to be tons more VR content down the pipe. We're going to have a day one Oculus Quest review, and we're going to have a Quest 1 versus Quest 2, the launch week of the Oculus Quest 2. We're also giving away a copy of Cyberpunk 2077 on your platform of choice if you needed another reason to subscribe, so please consider subscribing. If you like the video, please throw us a like, and let us know down below if you have any other games that you would recommend checking out on day one. And the last thing that I'll say before we get rolling into this is that there will be timestamps for each category. Please check them out if you just want to hop around. Let's start with the list for those who have a VR-ready PC. And the reason we're starting with that list is because all of these games I would still recommend to people who don't have a VR-ready PC, but these are the portable, these are the wireless, these are the social experiences that I think you should keep locally on your Quest. So all these games apply if you don't have a VR-ready PC. And to get things started, I'm going to start with the Tetris Effect. Tetris is one of my favorite games of all time, and yeah, so what's wrong with some chill vibes, some cool audio, cool visuals mixed in with some Tetris? I think this is one of the best iterations of Tetris, period. Super fun to play. I do also think that there's something to be said for a chill and relaxing VR game. You're not going to be sweating. You're not going to be moving around. You can just play this sitting. You could play this lying in bed. It's a really chill, cool, but worth it VR experience. And if you love Tetris, you're going to love this game. If you've never played Tetris, I think this would be a great way to perhaps fall in love with Tetris. So next, I want to talk Superhot VR. This is the same concept as the 2D experience of Superhot, where it's a minimalistic first-person shooter where time only moves when you do. And I think this mechanic actually works extremely well in VR because you're not overwhelmed with all these things happening. You can really strategically plan and pull off some really cool maneuvers. It does make you feel like John Wick. But if you really want to feel like John Wick, I would recommend Pistol Whip. It is basically a rhythm game. You go through highly choreographed sections with a generous auto aim, and you get health back by pistol whipping. It's an extremely cool and unique mix-up of the rhythm game genre and the action first-person shooter genre. I think this is a great pickup if you are into fast-paced, competitive rhythm shooters. But if you want the ultimate rhythm experience, that would be Beat Saber. And Beat Saber, there's little to be said that hasn't already been said about Beat Saber. It is basically a immediate introduction to VR. This is one of the first things you should be picking up on the Quest. It is two lightsabers in your hand, knocking out beats to some of your favorite tracks with custom songs and a decent casting system on the Oculus Quest. This can be a fun social experience for everyone, as well as even a workout routine. Next, I want to talk about Space Pirate Trainer. This is one of the original VR games that came out, in 2016, one of the core launch titles for the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive, and it's held the test of time. It's tried and true. You can pick it up for about $10, and it's just a really good wave-based shooter, which I think is nice to just have on the go if you're traveling and you decide to bring your Quest to on the road or to a friend's house, or you're staying in a hotel for a little. Space Pirate Trainer will definitely keep you entertained. And the last two experiences I want to talk about are specifically for people who want to take their Quest to their friend's house, take it to parties, take it to their parents' house, try to get people into VR. I think the Quest 2 is a very social headset. I think the Quest is a very social headset, and I found myself trying to introduce as many people to VR as I could because it really is a fun thing to show people. And I think the best two experiences for that would be, first is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. This is a very fun game for everyone in the room. It's a local multiplayer game where everyone participates. You, the person wearing the headset, has a bomb that they're trying to dismantle, and everyone else in the room with you can't see your screen. So you have to describe the bomb, and they have the bomb dismantlement manual. So it's frantic fun, super cool, and it's a great way to pass the headset around. Almost no risk of motion sickness for this game, which I think is great for introducing people to VR. Next is Richie's Plank Experience. This is the best way to show that VR is more than just a silly little gimmick, but it can cause very visceral and legitimate reactions out of people. And it's not just some little screen that you see in 3D. No, this will literally make your stomach drop. And it can be experienced quickly. You don't have to get people to understand VR. You don't have to go over controls with people. You just pop the headset in, say, hey, try walking out on this plank, and watch your parents, friends, significant others' reactions. And that's it for the people who have a VR-ready PC. Again, that list is also applicable to those who do not have a VR-ready PC. But for those who do not have a VR-ready PC, I'm going to add a few extra single-player focused or longer form factor titles for you to engage in with the Quest. First, I want to talk Arizona Sunshine. Back in when this launched, this was considered to be one of the most impressive VR titles, so the fact that it's come to the Oculus Quest is pretty cool. It's a zombie survival game, and what's neat about Arizona Sunshine is for the Quest, it is one of the longer single-player campaigns. You have about an 8-hour campaign to work through, as well as some other modes to keep you occupied, and it's a very solid experience and probably the most robust single-player experience that is currently on the Quest. Next, for those Zelda fans out there, the closest to Zelda that you'll find is probably Journey of the Gods. This is a roughly 5-hour experience where you basically have Zelda-like things happening. It's pseudo-open. You have a crossbow, you have other weapons, and other defensive mechanisms at your disposal. The combat's fairly interesting. I'd say the biggest detractor for this game are the visuals are fairly basic, but it still does the job. If you want the opposite end of the spectrum, where visuals are cranked up to 11, this is probably the best looking Quest 2 game that you're going to get on day one. That is any of the Vader Immortals. There are 3 episodes. They are each $10 a piece, so fairly low barrier to entry to experience the first episode. There are a few extras after the 1 to 2 hour campaign for each episode that will keep you occupied for a little bit, but if you have any fleeting interest in Star Wars or want to see exactly how impressive the visuals on your Quest can be, I would recommend Vader Immortal. And on the multiplayer front, I'm going to recommend Onward. This is an Oculus published game, and it can play with the PC players. For that reason, I think this is going to have fairly longevity in the multiplayer space because it is a first-party game, it's crossplay, there should be a decent player base for the foreseeable future. It's a highly tactical game, probably closest to Counter-Strike with small teams against small teams. Highly recommend Onward for the Quest for a more competitive multiplayer, longer, more in-depth experience. And we all know that horror works best in VR, so last but not least, I'm going to recommend Five Nights at Freddy's. If the original 2D game scared the shit out of you, then this will maybe be too much for you, actually. But Five Nights at Freddy's VR is another great, terrifying experience to engage with. Alright, so next I'm going to talk about some freebies. These games you really have no excuse but to get on day one because they're free. Put them on, try them out, and just remove them if you find out that they're not for you. The first I want to talk about is actually one of my favorite experiences in the Oculus Quest currently, and I highly recommend this game. It is Echo VR. It is a multiplayer, small team, basically a VR zero gravity form of handball. You might need a few days or weeks if you're new to VR to get your VR legs to be able to play this because of the non-traditional locomotion, but it is an extremely fun competitive game to play with friends and an actual legitimate sport. Next, I want to highlight Poker Stars. Even if you're not a fan of poker, I recommend checking out Poker Stars. I actually kind of got into poker through Poker Stars. It's just a chill experience. You'll learn a little bit about poker. The audio cues help. You'll know what your hand is. It's nice. And there's all kinds of added little ways to goof around. You can smoke a vape. You can have a silly frilly drink. You're playing poker on yachts. It's just a good time with your friends and with strangers. And speaking of speaking to strangers, last but not least is VR chat. Like Beat Saber, there's not much to say about VR chat that hasn't already been said. There's always someone new to talk to, always a new place to explore, and it is free. Rec Room is the last game on the freebies list. This is a very large rabbit hole for you to fall into if you choose to engage in Rec Room. Might take a while if you don't have your VR legs to fully acclimate to it, but once you're in, there are almost endless quests and adventures to explore with your friends. Now let's talk the near future. These are games that are coming out in the next month or so that I think would be important to keep your eye on for the Oculus Quest and Oculus Quest 2. The first of which is actually going to be coming out right around launch, and that is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I'm actually working on a review for this. Will probably come out closer to Halloween, but a sneak preview of this review is it is one of the most in-depth VR games that I've played. Very satisfying, long single-player experience, and it is the closest thing to a Fallout VR game that I've played, well, besides Fallout VR. Of course, it's nowhere near as complex or in-depth or long as Fallout VR, but I can see the beginnings of a wonderful thing with The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Next is Population 1. This is coming out later in October. This has been covered in almost every VR channel. It's essentially a combination of PUBG and Fortnite. It is a 1 kilometer, 18-player battle royale with squads, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sold on this one, but I am hesitant to possibly check it out. But if you're looking for a battle royale in VR, this does look to be the best solution for you. And last but not least, we have Blair Witch. This is a 2D game that came out in 2019. I actually reviewed it, and I have a Why You Shouldn't Sleep on It video you're welcome to check out in the cards and description. I was not super hot on the 2D iteration of Blair Witch, but I did say then I really wish that this game was in VR, because I think VR would take a lot of the mechanics that I was maybe not so hot about, and they would work much better in VR. And here we have a VR port, so I'm looking forward to a scary but satisfying adventure in VR. It's a 5-ish hour campaign that you can play entirely on your Quest 2, coming out this Halloween. And that is it for the Oculus Quest 2 Day 1 titles, guys. Like I said, we're going to have a lot more VR content in the next month and in the future, especially Quest 2 content. So please, please, please consider subscribing to learn about all that stuff. And that is all for me, and I will catch you next time.